Having a great flow is essential for achieving elite 360 waves. But what exactly is a good flow? Stay tuned, I'm about to hook you up. Let's get it.
I've been going crazy. Plug in, can't play me. Jesus done save me. Can't switch, won't sway me.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, the Ninja Waver here, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm tackling the wave problem from an analytical standpoint, namely teaching you guys how to analyze and assess your wave pattern so that way you can enhance your wave connections and ultimately develop a better flow.
Oh my gosh, man, you doing too much. I ain't trying to go to math class. That's useless.
But remember this, if you want to have flawless waves, you're going to have to understand the flow of your specific wave pattern and what corrections need to be made in your brushing angles to fix those discrepancies. Now the big question, what exactly do I mean when I say flow? Simply put, all a flow is how well your waves connect all around your head. Let me explain. If the top of your head has waves going down like this, but then the right side of your waves are like horizontal, just going straight and they don't connect, and it's like that all throughout your head, that's an example of a bad flow. On the other hand, if the top of your waves connect to your right side and your right side connects to your back and your back to your left and your left back to the front, then that is an example of a good flow. And this can apply to any 360 wave pattern, from 360 swirl, beehive, 540, 720, even the hybrid pattern. So it really doesn't matter what pattern you have, just as long as the waves connect. Now let me make myself clear. Many people think that if you have a 360 swirl pattern, that 360 swirl pattern has to look the exact same as somebody else's 360 swirl pattern, which isn't always the case because you have different head shapes and people have different crowns located in different areas. So it's not always going to look the same just as long as the waves are connected. Another thing I want to make clear about analyzing your wave flow is you do not have to have flawless waves to have a good wave flow. You can still have a very decent wave flow and still not be flawless. However, in order to achieve flawless waves, you do have to have a flawless flow. Try saying that 5 times fast. But no, seriously, really when it comes to achieving flawless waves, that's really just going to boil down to you breaking and getting rid of your forks, which I will make a future video covering that topic later down the line. But for now, let's explore the fundamentals of your brushing angles and how those brushing angles can affect what your waves are doing. So here I have a flat palm brush here, right? Now this is key to understanding what your waves do based off of how you're brushing. For example, whatever axis that the brush is facing when I brush my waves, that's what my waves are going to look like. For example, if I hold my brush horizontally and brush my hair straight down like this, if you look, it's a horizontal axis, meaning that my waves are going to look horizontal, like 360s. But if I take the brush and hold it vertical and brush it to the side like this, the brush has a vertical axis, meaning that my waves will look vertical, like 720s. And then on the other hand, if I take the brush and I angle it this way at a slant, that diagonal axis is going to cause my waves to look slanted, giving off a 540 wave pattern. Those are the key basics to understanding how your brushing angles can determine what your waves will do, and they can help you identify what corrections you need to make to fix those areas. Now let's use my wave pattern as an example. I have a 540 hybrid because I have a 540 top, right, and back, but my left are 360s. Let's get it. Okay, so obviously these are what my waves are looking like. Now, of course, I do not have flawless waves, but I do have a very decent flow. You can clearly see my wave pattern. You don't have to guess what wave pattern I have. You can see my waves are all connected for the most part, all right? Obviously, there's still some forks, but you can still see my pattern. Now, I'm gonna show you guys 2 of the major areas that I had problem with and had to fix. The first area was here at the top right. I used to have a problem where my waves would come here and then flatten out. They would just kind of go out like this. And if you take that same brush angle lesson that I just went over, if it's going out like this, that means my hair thinks I'm brushing straight ahead. But I don't want that angle, I want it to swoop around. So one technique you can do is trace over the flow that you want your wave pattern to go and pause when you get to that area. So I had to pause here and visualize how I needed to hold my brush to change the angle of that wave. Instead of brushing like this, I have to angle the brush this way to brush like this. And that's what ultimately caused the swoop to go around like I wanted to. So that is one example of making a correction to your wave flow. Now let's look at my left side here, which is actually my stronger side. You can see that it has a 360 pattern here. And so it kind of goes straight here at the top left. But then if I tilt my head here, you can see that there is a heavy bend at the top. Now, I struggled for the longest because I don't really like how sharp it goes from going straight to just bending. You can see that I do have a fork here because of that. So in order for me to fix that, I would have to take my brush and instead of brushing straight like this, I would have to angle my brush this way and brush a little bit more to the right so that way it can cause a much more gradual connection into the front. Now, one thing to remember when you make an adjustment like that is if I'm brushing slightly to the right to fix that, then eventually I'm going to have that same issue on my left side. And at that point, I would just do the same thing. I would just angle the brushing slightly up at this side to connect it, and so on and so forth. Now, some of you may be confused by this because essentially you may be wondering, well, if it's just going to create another problem, why do it? The idea behind this is to push that problem area further back and further back until it gets close to your hairline. At that point, you're golden because all you have to do then is just brush that wave out and push that fork out. And then you'll have your full left side connected. And that can apply for any wave pattern and any side of your wave pattern. So now that I've showed you guys 2 examples of my problem areas and what I plan to do to fix them in the future, now I want you guys to take what I just taught you in this video and use it for your own specific wave pattern, and then drop some comments in the comment section down below and let me know if this was helpful, or if it didn't make sense, post a question and I'll answer it, all right? Now, on the other hand, if you're tired of the wave pattern that you have and you're thinking about switching it up, watch this video right here. Stay tuned, be safe, salute to my wave troops. I'm out.